We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. We have some events coming up over the next 12 months. NUFC Matters end of season party takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on Friday the 22nd of May. Tickets are £10 and the doors open at 7 o'clock at the Tyneside Irish Centre. From Dialogue to Monologue by Arthur Mackenzie, a live script reading takes place on Friday the 5th of June at 7:30 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Return of the Entertainers, a walking football match takes place at Gateshead Leisure Centre on Saturday the 6th of June, kick-off 12 o'clock. You can also have a chance to play in the game and take on the Entertainers. Go to our website for more details. Northern Horizon, a Blake 7 convention, and Rebel Base Northeast, a Star Wars convention, take place on Saturday the 1st of August, 10 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon at the Copthorne Hotel on the Quayside. All of these events are in aid of Age UK North Tyneside Dementia, and tickets available from nufcmatters.co.uk. The Craze for a Dinage, Ronnie, Reggie and Me takes place on Wednesday the 11th of November, 7:30 at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. And an evening with Beardsley, Cole and Ferdinand takes place on the 29th of January 2027. Also at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. Box office for both of those events, 0191 243 1171. Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk is the website to book your tickets. If you're looking for something to read on your holidays, why not buy The Entertainers 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, or The Promoter and the Photographer, 25 years of bringing the stars to Tyneside. Both books available, nufcmatters.co.uk.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe.
Hi, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is another of those with the days with George. George, where are you taking us today, mate?
Well, one of the most bizarre competitions we've ever been in. I mean, when I had to go back and look at this, I had to shake my head and try and remember myself how complicated it was. It's the Intertoto Cup. Intertoto Cup is the trophy that we're talking about. But to get there, goodness gracious, what a convoluted way. Typical European though, and at the time, a lot of people wondered why we went in. But we went in because if you did well in the Intertoto Cup, you got a free ride into the UEFA Cup. And of course, that was even then that was a money spinner. So, but the Intertoto Cup, well, as you see as I go through it, people will latch on to the fact how complicated it was. But nonetheless, we won it. It was football, so that's where we were. There were 3 groups in the Intertoto Cup: Southern Mediterranean, which involved Greece, Spain, Turkey, Russia, Israel, and Cyprus. And the winners of that group were Auxerre, the French team. Then there was the Central East region, which involved Central Europe, Germany, Belgium. Yeah, Belgium, Germany, southern France, Ukraine, Russia, Austria, and Estonia. There was the winners of that group were the Austrian team SV Ried, and the northern region was us, Lillestrøm from Norway, Kalmar from Sweden, Twente and Sherry from Holland, Hibernian from Scotland, and OB from Denmark. And we won that group. But I'll go through obviously going to go through some of the games to let people know what happened. But in their wisdom, UEFA decided that they wouldn't ask the 3 winners of the groups to play off. They decided that the winners of the Intertoto Cup would be those that got the farthest in the UEFA Cup, which is a complicated way of doing it. But anyway, we went into it and we give it a go. That's the important thing. First match, and it was drawn out. I mean, the first game was in early July in 2006, and the trophy wasn't presented till back end of March the following year. So it was a journey, all right. Anyway, the first game was against Lillestrøm of Norway at St James's Park, described as the 3rd round first leg. We were buyed into the third round, and unusually for us in those days, and even in 2007, it was a 5 o'clock kickoff, and I remember finding that at the time unusual, to say the least. Little did we know that that was going to become a regular kickoff for European games and league games now. So anyway, we played Lillestrøm, and our team was Given, Carr, Bramble, Taylor, Babiaro, Solano, Parker, Emre, Nzoglia, Milner, and Luque. And the Lillestrøm team was virtually the Norwegian national team, and some of the names you'd know. Andersen was the Norwegian captain and fullback. Risa, who made his name at Liverpool, was still playing for them. Sodegaard was another who'd made his name in the Premier League with Arsenal and Fulham, and Oceana, the centre forward, had made quite a name for himself in the Championship with Millwall. So they're a series of reasonably good players, and we had 30,000 at this first game, which, when you consider, we're talking about 15th of July. And it was an ideal weather for football. It was blue sky and sunshine, even though it was 5 o'clock. And the football was quite good. And I think most of Gallagher Corner certainly were expecting it to turn these over without much difficulty. but what a shock we got, because they came on onto us and didn't just sit back and defend. On 21 minutes, Corin, the dangerous midfielder, hit a blinder from about 30 yards, and Shea Given hardly moved. It was in the back of the net before Shea could turn around. And so that set the hairs on the back of the neck in the Gallagher corner, realising that this wasn't going to be the walkover they thought it was. However, after half time, we came out and we really went for them and tried to get back into the game. Did everything but score. It looked like it was going to be one of those 1-0 wins that was going to sneak out the door, sort of thing. But on 50 minutes, Albert Luque, who you either loved or you hated, he was Marmite. On 50 minutes, scored one of the best goals he scored for Newcastle. Dribbled through the centre and placed a nice shot in the bottom corner underneath the goalkeeper. And we were 1-1, and that's the way it stayed till the end. Again, as I say, it felt like we should have beaten them, but that's not the way it went. Belgian referee, and who issued one card to Mitsud, their midfielder, who was kind of a ball winner because he was getting into some hard tackles. The substitutes for us were Harper, Patterson, Butt, Fay, and Ramage. But as it happens, we didn't use any substitutes. We just played the 11 we started with and took it at that. So knowing that it was 1-1 and going to away, people start to wonder whether or not this was a competition too far for. Had we bitten off more than we'd chew, until the following Saturday, the 22nd of July, we went to Norway to play the second leg of this third round Intertoto Cup. And but on this occasion, we were up for it. We changed the team slightly, given Carr, Bramble, Taylor, Bobbiaro, Solano, Parker, Emery, Nzogua, Milner, and Shola Amiobi. And the big change was that one, Shola. The Norwegians found Shola's height and his ability in the air just a bit too much to handle. The Norwegians played exactly the same team as they played at St James's Park, but within the first half hour, Shola Amiobi climbed for a ball from a corner and made it 1-0. Should have had one before then, but it didn't happen. So in 29 minutes, it was 1-0 from Shola. Then 6 minutes later, another free kick, and up went Shola, and 2-0. And we went in at half time 2-0 without hardly breaking the sweat. The stadium, a nice stadium in Oslo, and it was a nice warm summer's evening, and conditions were ideal, and we were coasting this one. Then the second half, we came out and we pressed, and it looked as though we were going to do everything but score, hit the woodwork, hit the bar. And their midfield, Risa and Sodegaard, tried to get them back into the game, but it wasn't going to happen. And then right at the death, almost the last kick, Emre, our Turkish midfielder, rattled in another one to make it 3-0. So we ended up with a relatively easy win, having been given a nervous 1-0, 1-1 result at St James's Park, it turned out not to be quite as tough as we thought it would be. It was a good game. The 8,700 of the crowd, and considering where we were in Norway, 1,700 in the away end were in black and white, which I think is quite a tribute. The travelling mags, I like the reports of these matches. The resultant Nordic pronunciation of United chant, which was coming from Newcastle fans that lived in Scandinavia, came across as something quite different in interpretation, apparently, according to this report. Anyway, it was we got through and sailed into the next round with still in the competition. And the next game was on the 10th of August with FC Ventspils, which is Riga, which is Latvia, and team which I'd never heard of before. But then, unless you were involved in Europe, you wouldn't be. So we went to Latvia first, to a stadium which capacity was 3,000, and which it is quite surprising for a team that playing in Europe to have a stadium of that size. But even then, there was still in the away end some black and white scarves and shirts to be seen. We sent Given, Carr, Bramble, Moore, who was for those who don't remember, was our Australian centre half, Babayaro, Solano, Parker, Butt, Emery, Duff, and Amiobi, and they had most of the Latvian team, the national team, were in this team, as it's from the capital, and one or two names, Vukaric, who played for West Ham for a while, Bukarix, who played at Chelsea for a while. So there was some steady players, but they relied very heavily on packing the midfield and stopping us rather than attacking us. And no surprises that we went in 0-0 at half time, and come out second half. We had a go at them again, and it was no surprise when on 71 minutes we got a corner, and Titus Bramble leapt like a salmon above everybody else and made it 1-0 on 71 minutes. And tries we couldn't get another goal, but that's how it ended. We used all substitutes. We had Nzoghi on for Emery, Milner on for Solano, and Ramage on for Babayaro, and no bookings for them. 2 for us. Moore and Butt were booked, and French referee, and it was an interesting game. But the football was, as I say, it was like a training game for us. It was like attack v defense and training, because that's all they wanted to do. They just wanted to stop us doing anything, and it made it slightly dead in the sense, in the football sense. And as I noticed from the report here, it says that they'd counted up and they'd seen at least 200 Newcastle fans at this away game. Guarantee the Geordies all find their way there, wherever we're playing. There'll be some black and whites. So we come back for the return game, which is on 24th of August, Thursday, 24th of August. And I like the report, and he says, conditions comfortable. One is, I mean, 24th of August, I'd hope it would be comfortable, but never mind. Anyway, they come from Latvia and play exactly the same team. And we play Harbacker, Taylor, Bramble, Babiaro, Duff, Parker, Emery, Inzoglia, Luque, and Milner. And we've got Krull, Solano, Butt, Ramage, Huntington, Patterson, and O'Brien on the bench. And I've got to say, my memory is what a boring game. The team from Latvia came with just one intent, and that was not to get beaten. So they played nine men behind the ball, and I think if Opera had been in operation in those days, that they would have had a trouble sorting out possession, because I think it would have been 99% Newcastle. It was a dreadful match to watch, and we try as we might. I think we hit both the bars, both the posts, hit the bar, and the goalkeeper made some decent saves. But the important thing is that we because we got the goal in the first game, we go through and live another day. So off we go to the next round of the Intertoto Cup. So then we go to Estonia this time. Tallinn. They come to St James's Park, and they come with a strong side of internationals who are playing not just in Latvia, but playing in Germany and Sweden and other countries. So some players of quality in that team. Our team was Harbacker, Bramble, Taylor, Ramage, Milner, Butt, Emery, and Zogua, Martins, and Subieski, which is a nice attacking side. And we need to win this to make progress. Anyway, the game is quite even. They're in the game a lot. Some of their players, I mean, Nank is and Puje are two that played in the Premier League with clubs in London. They were quite dangerous, but as it happens, we were too strong, and on 47 minutes, Obafemi Martins scored just after the half time, and then on 3 minutes later, he scored a second to make it 2-0. And we seem to be happy to skate out at 2-0, but unfortunately, typical of Newcastle now, and never mind then, a few minutes from the end, the dangerous centre forward Zielinski got on the end of a corner and made it 2-1, which made the made anxious for the support. But a good crowd, considering. I mean, we're looking at nearly 30,000, which is good for this level of game, and when it was. So we had to play the second leg at Tallinn, and we sent not virtually the same side, and it was hard fought. They obviously realised they had an opportunity to go through, like we had. But it played in the capital of Tyne, of course, and interestingly, it just short of 8,000 in the ground, and but 1,400 magpies found out way to Tyne, which is quite something when you consider the home side only had 8,000. Anyway, it was a hard fought game, and it was clear that we were causing them trouble mostly with our pace. Sobieski and Nzogbia and Obafemi Martins causing them a great deal of trouble. And there was no surprise on 10 minutes when an ice through ball from Emre put Sobieski through, and he made it 1-0. And so we were on our way through to the next round. Unfortunately, try as we might, their goalkeeper made a lot of fantastic saves. We hit every piece of woodwork that there was to hit, but we couldn't add to that. But they just faded as the game went on, and the 1-0 score sheet at half time stayed the same at the final whistle, and we go through to the next round. Interestingly, another game where there were no cards. It was a Swedish referee, but there was no cards at all, even though it was quite a hard fought game. So off we go through to the next stage of this convoluted competition. So by dint of the fact of the games that we've won, we've now reached the group stages, the group stage of the UEFA Cup. And as this still counts towards the Intertoto Cup, we've still got a shout, along with the other teams that won their groups. So our first group game is at home to Fenerbahce from Turkey, and on the 19th of October. And our team is Harper, Taylor, Ramage, Duff, Milner, Parker, Emre, Nzogbia, Sobieski, and Martins. Fenerbahce has Rashadu, Tardadi, Langard, Krost, Yogarth, Apia, Santi, Kiernan, and Alex. Now, they're in a Turkish team. Quite a lot of these lads are playing in Italian football and a couple in Spanish football, so they're no mugs, and come with quite a reputation, certainly in Europe, even though we haven't been involved with them before. And the commentator says the conditions were stress relieving, wherever that's supposed to mean. I do remember it was a very, very, even though it was October, it was a very, very pleasant night for the game. And again, the kickoff time, 8 o'clock. Is that sounding familiar? Which in those days was exceptional. But you know what to say, the exception proves the rule, and that's how we're finding it at the moment. First half was a lot of good football, but I think that they played two halves that neither side would have scored, and nobody came anywhere near scoring. So we went in at half time 0-0. The second half, though, things livened up a little bit. Butt came on for Embry, Solano came on for Nzogbia, and Amiobi came on for Martins, and that seemed to G us up a little bit, and we certainly given them more to think about in this second half, and hit the post, some good saves from there. the international goalkeeper, and on 79 minutes, beautiful through ball from Scott Parker to Subierski, and Subierski made no mistake from well inside the penalty area to make it 1-0. And after that, Fenerbahce just weren't interested in defending. They didn't want to go down to a heavy defeat. But it was, we were in the lead and didn't look like losing that lead. And interestingly, that even for this level of competition, with 30,000, which is, says a lot for the fans, to be perfectly honest. And it was, it ended up being quite a good game, but obviously the big prize was that we won, and that was so we go to the next group game in the group stages of the UEFA Cup, which is keeps us alive for the UEFA Cup and for the Intertoto Cup, of course, which is what we're interested in. And so we now into the second of the group games. No second legs, just one game. The second leg was in Sicily, in Palermo, Italian. Now Palermo have been a problem in this competition from the beginning. They were supposed to be in the UEFA Cup proper anyway because of their position in the Italian league, but because of match fixing allegations, a number of their players were suspended, but because Palermo had got rid of these players and paid their fines, etc., UEFA, in their wisdom, allowed them to come into the group stages of the competition along with us, and so we went to Sicily to play Palermo in this next group stage. So we sent Tim Krul in goal, Ramage, Moore, Bramble, Taylor, Solano, Emery, and Zoggia, Milner, Butt, and Luque. Palermo had a number of Italian internationals: Della Fonte, Tyne, Cassiani, Gucciani, Palanincini, Murani, and Benzema, all either former or current Italian internationals, and had got as far as they had by dint of getting into the top four in the Italian league. But of course, the match fixing allegations knocked that on the head. But UEFA had second thoughts and allowed them into this group match. So off we went to Palermo, and it was an interesting game, end-to-end stuff, and frankly, Tim Krul kept us in the game. Tim Krul had a game of games. They could easily, by half-time, have been 3 or 4 up if it hadn't been for Tim Krul. And we kept coming back, and on 37 minutes, Albert Luque scored a nice goal, a head down from Bramble from a corner, and Albert Luque was there to put the ball in the back of the net, and went in 1-0 at half time, and everybody was hoping that we'd reorganise and to take the opportunity to reorganise at half time, but whether that was going to happen remained to be seen. Well, it didn't. We needed Tim Krul again in the second half because Palermo just tore us apart again, and a crowd of 16,500 in a what's described here as a half-empty stadium meant the atmosphere was a little drained, especially as they were 1-0 down. But try as they might, they couldn't beat Cruel, and we try as we might, we couldn't add to our 1-0. However, the important thing is we got the final whistle, which was with 1-0 intact. So that left us go to the next group game, which was in Spain. With 22nd of November, we're playing Celta Vigo in this group game, and it's at home at St James's. Conditions placid, says the reporter, and we have Given, Solano, Bramble, Taylor, Ramage, Milner, Butt, Emery, Inzogbia, Luque, Subieski, and Celta Vigo will be Esteban in goal, Angel, Diego, Contreras, Paciente, Jonathan, Imre, Borja, Nene, Combiayo. Most of those are Spanish internationals, because Celta Vigo, quite a good team in the Spanish league, and come with quite a reputation. So we know this is not going to be a walkover. 26,000 at the game, which is not bad. And the commentator comments that it's a better crowd than we'd had for the Carling Cup game against Portsmouth. Anyway, the game set off, and Celta Vigo obviously giving us quite a bit of trouble, and no surprise when, as early as 9 minutes, their centre forward, Italian international Conbio, beautiful shot from an interchange of passes with two of the midfielders, and he slid the ball home without any problem at all, and didn't give Shea Given a chance. So we go down very early. However, the team responds and keep having a go, and on 37 minutes, as is Subierski's want, he used his pace to go through the middle, and a nice ball from Nicky Butt found him, and he planted the ball in the bottom corner to make it 1-1, and that's how we went in at half time. I know from the people I was with, everybody was thinking, well, what's it going to be like the second half? Or are we Celta going to take this game? But it was even Steven second half. They both teams having a go. They weren't going to give it up easily. But on 86 minutes, we got a corner, and the corner came over, and Stephen Taylor headed in the bottom corner and killed the game as far as Celta were concerned, and pushed us through to the next round. Hard-earned win. It was a good football match. The Spanish were no mugs, but we won, and it was a good game to be at, to watch. So the next group stage match is at Eintracht Frankfurt and in Germany, and we're saying it's again a strong team. Given, Ramage, Bramble, Taylor, Solano, Emery, Milner, Butt, Nzogu, Sobieski, and Albert Luque. Martin, Foster, Huntington, Patterson, Martins, Carroll, Edgar, and Trioni are our substitutes. The Eintracht Frankfurt, of course, have a number of German internationals. The goalkeeper, for example, Prohl, centre back Ratner, and Stiek, and Hugo, midfielder for Germany, and Kessler, dangerous centre forward. So there's quite a strong team, and to go away there, we had to be on our mettle. There's no question about that. But entertaining game. First half, the only problem was neither team looked like they were going to score. It really was a midfield battle. There was some good football, but nothing in the penalty area. Second half was much the same, but we with Sobieski and Nzogbi are getting into the box, and Obafemi Martins coming on as a sub, and he caused them more trouble. But we still couldn't put them in the back of the net, and Frankfurt didn't look like they would score against us either. So it ended up in 0-0. But it wasn't the worst 0-0 you've ever seen. At least there was some good football and some energy put into the game by both teams. And top performer for us, as in lots of these games, was Emre, the Turkish midfielder that we had. What a classy little footballer he was, and dangerous with dead ball situations. Oh my, how we could do with him now. But a good game, even though it was a 0-0. We've got to accept it was a good game. So now we enter the round of 32 of the actual UEFA Cup. But bearing in mind, it was our progress in this will still decide whether or not we win the Intertoto Cup. And the first leg of this is away in Belgium, Zoetermeer, in Ghent, in Belgium. The conditions dry and cool, says the reporter. Well, that for we're now into February, by the way, folks. You see how this competition's going on and on and on. We started in early July. We're now into February 2007. Anyway, we go to Belgium, and they have one of the top teams in Belgium at the time. And we send Harper, Solano, Taylor, Bramble, Babiaro, Butt, Milner, Dyer, Duff, Martins, and Sobieski. They have Mentia, De Bruyne, who's a Belgian international, Dindilux, who's the Belgian captain, Rienna, the Belgian midfielder, Sargent, who's a Dutch international, Van der Driesch, who's a Dutch international, and Mattis on the centre forward, who has good reputation. Conditions are dry and cool, says the reporter. Well, game starts off, and it looks like it's going to be it's an interesting game straight away, and both sides obviously trying to win the match, but nobody could hit the goal. You know, not a lot of good midfield play, but neither goalkeeper was really troubled that much, and it went in 0-0 at half time with little surprise. Second half, we came out and we were much more into the game. I would say they were using. We'd learned that Dyer's pace and Martin's pace and Sobieski's pace were troubling them, and we used them to stretch the defence time and again. And then on 47 minutes, just after half time, Dindilo, the international defender, got in the way of a blinding shot from Martin's, one of Martin's special, and unfortunately it deflected it past the goalkeeper, so we went 1-0 up, and that seemed to knock the stuffing out of the Belgians a little bit. And then within 10 minutes, 59 minutes, Obafemi Martins was going through on goal and was upended by the same defender to get a penalty. And he made no mistake of that. He dispatched that without any bother at all with his usual cannonball shot. And so we went 2-0 up. The Belgians didn't leave at that, though. They came back as well. And their fullback, Dihani, came up for a corner and headed a goal in on 69 minutes. So it looked as though it might be backs to the wall for a bit, but it wasn't for long, because within 5 minutes, Sobieski had fastened onto a through ball and made it 3-1 for us. So that was settled things. They well and truly knocked the stuffing out of the Belgians and give us the 3-1 victory. The attendance, which for a European game was 8,015, and still managed to be about 500 black and white shirts in amongst that lot. Towards the end, there was a bit of the Belgians did get a bit miffed, and they were putting some heavy tackles in, so they got 3 bookings. We got 3 bookings, mostly for retaliation. Butmill and Martins all got booked, but simply for retaliating from getting very, very hard tackles. So that takes us through to we'll go home for the second leg with a 3-1 aggregate, 3-1 advantage, which is a comfortable place to be. So on the 22nd of February at 7:45 St James's Park, and conditions are pedestrian, says the reporter. Zultan Wagram come to St James's, and they send the team's unchanged from the one that we played in the first game. Our team is Harper, Solano, Babiaro, Taylor, Bramble, Milner, Butt, Dyer, Duff, Luque and Martins. And our substitutes are Cernacek, O'Brien, Edgar and Loa. The game kicks off, and it's very, 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 very clear that the Belgians don't want to give anything away, and they've decided to play a very, very deep 9-man behind the ball and make life difficult for us, because they clearly feared our pace with Martins and Dyer and such like, and Duff, and so it made the first half interesting and exciting for us, because we kept skimming the ball across the penalty area on either side of the goal, but we couldn't put one in the back of the net. So we went into half time 0-0, and a very disappointing in a sense, because we had all the game. The only thing we didn't do was score. Second half comes out, and it's a repeat of the first. It's just more of the same, all midfield shots from us, nothing from them at all. But we just can't manage to hit the onion bag. Then on 68 minutes, we get a free kick just outside the penalty area, and up steps Obafemi Martins with his cannonball and dispatches this free kick into the top right-hand corner, and the goalkeeper just had no chance whatsoever to make it 1-0 and 4-1 to us on aggregate. So that's the second round of the round. The round of 22, second leg of the UEFA Cup, done and dusted as far as we're concerned. So we're advancing to the next round, and the next round is to AZ Alkmaar. However, before AZ Alkmaar, UEFA decided that we, as the team that's progressed more than any other of the teams that won the groups, were now the holders and winners of the Intertoto Cup. And if you went to St James's Park on the Thursday, the 8th of March, to see this game, this UEFA Cup game, you would have seen the trophy being presented to Scott Parker, the captain, on the pitch. Now, I think somewhere, Steve, you'll have a picture of Scott Parker holding the certificate stroke plaque in the yes. I mean, does that look like a happy captain? I don't think he's impressed with the trophy. And that was before, well, you can see behind him, there was hardly anybody on the ground there. And I can certainly not remember seeing that presentation take place. And I mean, usually pretty early, but so that's our Intertoto Cup certificate stroke plaque. And wherever they have that in St James's Park, I'm sure they've got it in a nice cabinet somewhere, screwed to the wall. But anyway, so he still got the chance to make progress in the UEFA Cup. And AZ Alkmaar come to St James's, and well, we just go bananas. You know, we Given, Bramble, Taylor, Carr, Solano, Dyer, Parker, Butt, Duff, Sobieski, and Martins. And AZ Alkmaar, top Dutch team, nearly all Dutch internationals. Volterman, goalkeeper, Odam, De Cler, De Zoo, Martins, Coverans, all seasoned Dutch internationals. So they're going to give us a good game. However, what I don't think anybody was expecting was what happened in reality, and that was that we just went at them from the start, 100 miles an hour. First goal was an own goal by Steenson, their right back, but it was only because he deflected an Obafemi Martins shot past the goalkeeper. In 22 minutes, Dyer makes it 2-0 after a mazy dribble. He slips the ball underneath the goalkeeper. 23 minutes, Obafemi Martins makes it 3-0 with one of his cannonball shots. And on 31 minutes, Antelazie, their centre forward, makes it 3-1. And then 37 minutes, Obafemi Martins makes it 4 to Newcastle United. So we go in at half time with a 4-1 victory, 4-1 advantage, and playing some absolutely scintillating stuff. Second half, of course, was a bit of an anticlimax because they organised themselves better, and they're not getting caught out by our pace as they were in the first half. And indeed, we don't seem to be able to get another goal. And their Dutch centre forward, Covermans, makes it 4-2 on 73 minutes. So we have the 4-2 advantage to go to the second leg. and an interesting game, a game in which we first off was absolutely scintillating. Attendance was 29,000, and who had quite a happy night, to put it mildly. But if you weren't there early, you missed the presentation of the Intertoto Cup. So we then go to Holland, to Alkmaar Stadium, and for the second leg, and we send the same team: Gibbons, Lowell, Bramble, Taylor, Huntington, Dyer, Butt, Parker, Duff, Sobieski, and Martins. Theirs teams got Declare in instead of Lens, and they're a different team. The home advantage clearly suits them, because the first 20 minutes they're giving us all sorts of problems, and on 14 minutes their dangerous winger Avalantes makes it 1-0 to AZ Alkmaar, and that's the way it is at half time. Second half, I think we were all hoping that we might come out and have a go at them like we did in the first game, but it wasn't to be like that. Indeed, AZ Alkmaar came out and were pressing us even stronger and stronger, and we hung on, and then on 56-minute, Covermans, their dangerous midfielder, scored from a free kick to make it 2-0. We did try and come back at them, but without much success. 16,000 at the game, and at least 1,200 black and white shirts there, Magpies there. And that's the way it ended, unfortunately. And because it ended that way, the rules about away goals were enforced then. And because Alkmaar got a goal at 2 goals at St James's Park, although the aggregate was 4-4, their away goals counted double. So they went through, and we were out of the UEFA Cup, but had that wonderful certificate for the Intertoto Cup to console ourselves with. I've got to say, I've never seen a competition, and I'd forgotten how convoluted it was. Yeah, I mean, that you know, he's supposed to be happy, you know. He's supposed to be happy, but never mind. It was as I say, convoluted group, 2 legs to start with, group stages, and then in the middle of it saying, well, the ones that won the groups would be the winners, the ones that went furthest rather in the UEFA Cup, and that happened to be us. Some very little action, but as Scott Parker in play, and that's one of the games that we played, yeah. But
I tell you what, that's probably got to be the hardest one you've ever had to do.
Well, the research was hard, because I'd forgotten how convoluted it was, Steve. You know, this 2 legs, and then a group stage, and then back to 2 legs, and then you know, it just was so convoluted. And then at the end of it, suddenly UEFA announcing that the team that got the furthest in the UEFA Cup, which happened to be us, would win the Intertoto Cup, and that was Scott Parker receiving the prize, which I still can't get his miserable face out of me head. He doesn't look like he's won. He doesn't look like he's won anything. It looks like he's lost a tenner and found a tenner. You know, it's really, really poor. But not one of the easiest, but interesting. I could see the catch for the club. If we did well in the Intertoto Cup, you got a free ride into the UEFA Cup. But if we'd gone further in the UEFA Cup, the number of games they would have had to play to get anywhere in it. I mean, by the time we got to that first round, we'd already played about 10 games. You know, we'd played group stages, we'd played one off, 2 legs. And no, it was fascinating. But nonetheless, it's in my history that we won the Intertoto Cup, and I hope that's the story of it for you.
Thanks, George. As always, take care, mate.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com, or contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to United Group Travel, our fanzine sponsor. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach. All excursions included. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Deposits from £50 per person. A big thanks to Media Arts. Their website, www.media-arts.co.uk. Email info@media-arts.co.uk or telephone 0191 637 5061. If you want to help support the channel, then you can click the subscribe button. We still do 7 shows a week. It is free. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your social media. A big thanks to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can listen to us on the road, on this network, or by tuning into iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can also join the channel by hitting the join button on YouTube or go to our website, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. You can pay a one-off fee of £25 and you'll receive a membership card, a beer mat, a fridge magnet, a key ring, a badge and a pen. £25, nufcmatters.co.uk.